This is Eric Guido. I am currently in the vineyards of Cristiana Tiberio in Cunoli, Abruzzo. Um, it's actually a little bit depressing to see the vines in this current state. They've been having a very difficult vintage here. To give you an idea, these are pergola-trained vines, Trebbiano and Montepulciano, and typically at this time of the season, it's currently the end of July, we would have a large canopy that would be spreading across these wires from each side. And when walking through this, the height of these are about 6 feet. I would actually have to duck down to walk through. But as you can see, we're instead in a situation where the vines themselves are basically struggling with extremely small amount of production of canopy and also an extremely small production of bunches. In fact, the bunches here at this time, if you can see, are extremely small. If you were to squeeze these, it would basically just be skin and seeds. According to Cristiana, she's probably not even going to attempt to harvest this fruit because even if they were to start receiving rain at this point, it wouldn't necessarily help these vines to reach maturity without hurting them. And so instead, she's going to allow them to keep the fruit to try to heal the situation for the next vintage. The reason for this is not just the dry conditions, though. It was also an extremely cold air mass that rolled through this area in April and basically stopped the vines in their tracks. They stopped producing, and that's the reason why we have this crazy situation here. Other parts of the region were also affected like this, but not all. Loreto Robertino to a slightly lesser degree. Ofena is having a serious problem as well with the dry weather, but also the cool conditions, having a serious issue with their pecorino vines. This is going to be an extremely challenging vintage for a large part of Abruzzo, but also keep in mind that Abruzzo is quite diverse, and in areas such as the coast, they're having a lesser problem when it comes to this. The vines are much more green. It is still very dry, and it is still very warm, but not to this extreme. Now, going back to 2023, if people remember, this is a season they had almost the exact opposite, a tremendous amount of rain in the spring, which created a serious problem with peronospora, otherwise known as downy mildew. And when I was here last year, the conversation was about producers thinking they might not be able to produce any wine due to the peronospora. In certain areas, production is down as much as 70%. However, in other areas, again, like almost the reverse of this vintage, such as here in Cunoli, they had a lesser problem with the peronospora, and there will be a larger production, still much lower than normal, but a larger production. In the end, I'm quite impressed with what I've seen that producers were able to accomplish in 2023. And from the wines I've tasted, they're actually quite interesting. More lifted, softer textures, but very interesting wines. As for 2022, which is the vintage that's hitting the market now, expect elegant wines, round fruit, warm year, but with a decent amount of precipitation. Definitely some fun wines, more of an approachable Montepulciano, but let's be honest, most people, they think about Montepulciano, they're thinking about approachable. It's more of the this new way of thinking of producers such as Cristiana Tiberio, Loreto Robertino producers, where you can really age these wines, maybe Pepe, Valentini, and such. But I think that people are really going to enjoy 2022, just more from an early consumption phase. As for what's going on here in 2024, I've already had a few producers tell me beyond Cristiana that they will not be making certain wines. It's simply better to allow these vines to heal themselves for the upcoming vintages.